Hi guys, and welcome back to Let's Talk About It, episode 6. We are here today with the beautiful Saleemah Graham Fleming. She's here today to tell her story about her beautiful daughter, Sanaa, who was murdered about a year ago, right?
Yep.
And yes, very hard conversation to have, but she's here to tell her story. Y'all guys, welcome Miss Saleemah Graham Fleming. Good to have you.
Thank you.
So good to have you. How are you?
Today is a good day so far.
Good. 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 So what do you call a good day?
A good day is not laying 30 minutes just thinking about that this is really my life and I'm not dreaming.
Right.
Or waking up from a dream that I wish didn't end. Or maybe having a moment where I think of a scenario or I remember a vision of us together and then now I'm sobbing and my 6-year-old has to console me. Those are not good days.
Right.
But today, woke up. Before I put my mind there, I chose to, pray, talk to God about what He needed me to do today, which is something I do every day.
Good.
And I got my day started, and I felt happy about that.
Good. Good. So we're here today. It's hard for me because, this hit different. We've been friends, sisters for a very long time, so this hit different.
Nearing 25 years.
Oh my goodness.
It's getting old,
That's
right?
crazy.
It's been a long time.
A long time. A long time. So it's so many questions I want to ask. But okay, I see that you started an outreach. It's called M.O.S.T. Outreach.
Yeah.
Can you tell us when you got started with this, why you got started? And,
So people, the funny thing about this whole thing is God has been sending people, not necessarily from my past, but like strong sisterhood bonds that I formed like in college to help me.
Right.
So Dr. Lee Hicks from Benedict College.
Yes.
She was one of the first people when we got here in August of 2019. The first people that I confided in about some of my behind the scenes struggles.
Right.
And Lee said, I'm coming over there. And we got here, we had little of nothing because I pretty much left my old life behind me and just came here with pretty much the clothes on our backs. So Lee came and she had care packages, and I was explaining to her some of my challenges with raising the bigger girls, and she got all in Sanaa's face. And that relationship blossomed into a really trusting one where, if I had complications with Sanaa, Lee could always get to her. And of course her godmother, my best friend Alicia too.
Right.
But, I had those supports. And I think in shame of raising kids that were somewhat rebellious, parents tend to clam up and don't want to share because they start, and I've been in situations where people kind of judged my parenting and say, well, you obviously, it was kind of like the connotation that I'm probably doing something wrong.
Right.
And so it makes you not want to share and not want to be open about what you're going through because you don't need the scrutiny.
No.
But Lee, to answer the question, Lee came to me and she said, when you get back in town from the memorial, I want to come and talk to you because I got this great idea. And anybody that knows Sanaa knows that she was always doing the most. Very over the top, very gregarious girl, right? Wow. So Lee said, I got this idea for you to do this nonprofit organization. And just a step back, before I got on the plane, my friend Alan Jones, AJ from Benedict, he said, Sal, you need to do a walk. And I said, oh, that's a real good idea. But I just kind of, I just put it in my little compartmental thing. And so I said, that's a good idea, A. And so when Lee told me about M.O.S.T, I said, it makes so much sense because I was always doing the M.O.S T. Right. So, and then the acronym being Mothers and Men of Slain Teens, we kicked it off in June.
Yes.
So Sanaa's memorials, two. One here in Columbia, South Carolina, another one in New Jersey, where, her final resting place is in New Jersey. But it's so funny because I didn't really think about, it wasn't even 30 days to the time that we had already incorporated M.O.S T. And I was just kind of rolling. And I think it gave me a sense of purpose, and that's something I needed.
Right.
Because being really honest and open, I just don't think I would have survived if I wouldn't have did it.
Wow.
Because I had so many daunting and like, you know how the enemy is.
Oh yeah.
You know, those thoughts of, hey, you know, you failed. This was the only thing you wanted to do, right? Look at this. This is a failure.
Wow.
You know, look at how this happened.
Yes.
You know, how could you walk around knowing what happened to her and not want to do something to avenge her? Or, you know, all kinds of things go through your mind. And so, doing most, you know, and people were looking like, maybe you need to sit down, but they didn't understand what was going on inside of me. You know, and so I would hear people say, oh my God, you're so strong. I remember, Cynthia, I sat in the sheriff's office. And when he told me that, because I just knew I was going to walk in there and she was going to come from behind that door. That was the vision I had all night. But I kept hearing, what's that, Twinkie Clark? I kept hearing, accept what God allows, while I was laying in my closet. And I just began to cry to God for mercy. I said, God, please just have mercy on me. Please, just have mercy on me. So when I didn't like fall apart right then, I got in my car. I had to race to go get the kids because they literally told us at like 9. And then said, we're leaving out of here to go in the next room to do a press conference. And I said, my kids are in school. And I didn't want, of course, my middle school at the time, I didn't want her to find out that like that.
Not like that.
So I'm racing. I didn't really have time to, I guess, have a reaction. Because as a mother, and I'm sure you can relate, it's like always protection, protect mode.
Always.
So they told me that, and Cherie falls apart, and I'm like, I definitely can't now because we're going to miss something. So the coroner, Margaret Fisher, she starts to talk about, you know, what they found and the condition, not necessarily condition, but they pretty much were telling me that she was buried and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? And I think I just was like in utter shock. But I knew that I had to, I don't know what I knew in that. I was kind of on autopilot. But I remember asking her if she was shot in her face. Or if they did anything to my baby's pretty face. And she told me no. And in my stomach, I knew it wasn't true. But I said, can I see her? And she said, I'm so sorry, but you can't. It wouldn't be until I would go to the funeral home at Levy's to start making her arrangements that I would learn that I would never see Sanaa again. So that night, I kissed my baby in her face and told her she can take some pictures. Was the last time I ever saw her again. Period. I didn't get a viewing. I didn't get to identify a body. Nothing. It wasn't until I went to court in May that I saw her pants and her bracelets and the wrap that she was wearing that I knew was her. So imagine going 13 months and you know that you took this body up to New Jersey and you know you did this memorial and you know all of these things and you know that these people are saying this is your kid, but something in you as a mother is like, maybe they have the wrong person. But then you go to court and it's like, that's her. And it was important for me to sit in on that proceeding. Nobody else did. They told me when they gave me the autopsy report on October 8th of 2021, they said, we'll go page for page with you, but please don't read it. Can you promise us that you won't read it? And I said, okay, but you know, in my flesh, I was like, this is my kid. And I remember the Holy Spirit just saying, not yet. Not yet. I didn't know that in May of 2022, I would be in the proceedings and that I would be afforded that. So now I didn't sit in on the autopsy report and all of that, but when they did kind of the route and all of that and how she fell and how she ran and all of that, I sat in it. I had to know. And some people would say that's just too much. But when you love your children,
that's right.
Right? It's certain things that you just can't lay away with.
Right.
It's certain things that you just can't be okay with accepting, and you gotta know.
That's it.
And maybe some might suggest that it's torture, but here it is again. You know, unless you've been in the situation, you really don't know what you would do.
That's it.
So
that's it.
I don't think that God has all of this happening just for me to have an experience. Somehow, this has got to translate in a way that affects change.
That's right.
I mean, on a natural and on a spiritual level.
Yes.
So that sometimes, you know, people may have an experience with God through you. And I told God I yield myself to that, because what else could happen to me?
Right.
What else? Nothing else. So, and then every time I feel like I want to just relax on something else happened. You know, another kid, you know, my nephew. Something else happened to say, you are in the vein and you need to stay right where you are. And I know this wasn't your plan, but take all your cues from me, because I'm on this.
Jesus.
So what am I going to say? Like, I'm not in control. Clearly.
No.
If I was in control, none of this would be my reality. You know how I am. Very introverted.
Right.
I don't necessarily need the spotlight. I don't desire it. But if God is in it.
That's right.
And this is his way. And I tell people, you know, if you feel like God is doing something, because I remember my former pastor in New Jersey, Chris Jones, told me, I feel that the Lord wants you to share on social media platforms about your struggles with your daughter. Wow. I blew it off because I don't like people in my business. I even made a post. I even made a post about it saying, if you waiting for me to post my business on social media, I see you at your funeral. I posted that not even a year before this happened.
Wow.
And here we are. You know, every time I look up, I'm like, sometimes I get tired of myself.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay, yeah, sis, I know what you said. But then somebody didn't see it. So I have to do it. Like, this is not the life I chose. No, who would choose this? I'm a part of a committee nobody wants to join.
Right. And there's so many others out there.
There's so many other people who suffer, you know, and losing a child is unnatural and unfair, period. But losing a child savagely, wondering if your child screamed for you, or, you know, if they cried, or if they were scared going to the other side, all kinds of stuff. And then knowing that there's nothing you can do but trust God. And if I didn't have a trust in him, this made me trust God. I didn't have a choice. It was trust God or just die. Simple and plain. It was simple and plain. And it's just been a pleasant surprise that he kept me on the level that he did.
Right.
I remember asking God, leaving there, once I sat in my house, like after I got that news, I said, Lord, am I crazy? And I just don't know it.
Right.
And then I did 2 news interviews, and the situation wasn't even 3 hours old. What was wrong with me? I was, oh my God, what?
Jesus.
And I just felt like God was on it. Like, it ain't even you. Just sit down.
Right.
Like, I was literally in that process just sitting down, and God was just doing it. God was just doing it, not me. Because when I look back at that stuff, I'm like,
right.
Wow.
Right.
Like, I would think I was crazy.
But you
honestly,
it wasn't. God got it all under control. The good, the bad, and the ugly. How can the people donate to the outreach? So,
you know what? It's so funny. We did the walk August 6th this year. Yes. That was my best friend's birthday. That's Sanaa's godmother, her birthday.
Yes.
And she's always on things. And I was like, it was a beautiful event. You know, we had the kids all on the billboard, all the kids we lost, and we got to celebrate them. And,
yes.
And I wondered, you know, how it would be if she was still here, you know. and what kind of turn up she would have been trying to do with her godmother. It was just really a bittersweet day because, you know, my best friend, she always be kind of like right here. She wasn't there that day, but I knew, you know, that she was there. You know, I know how we rock. But the donations, we need them so bad because we started out with only 2 kids. Okay. And it swelled in a matter of maybe 10 to 12 days. And now we have 7 identified. And we need to be a blessing to. We were a blessing to 6 last year.
Wow. That's awesome.
And so I know there's so many more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the goal is to ultimately have it where people are not just donating, but that we have grant opportunities too. Because there's no resources that exist here, not continuum of care for people in my situation. It doesn't exist. So that's why we do it. So we raise the money, and we have a Zelle at M.O.S.T outreach at Gmail. That's also the PayPal. We have a Cash App now. That's M.O.S.T Outreach. And if you go on the website at mostoutreach.org, you'll see all of the ways to give. We have Givelify now.
Okay.
That's I'm like, whoa. Okay, so praise God for our admin, our outreach manager, Gianna Thompson.
Wow.
She's rocking it.
Wow.
You know, we have a GLA Cares actually donated our T-shirts this year.
Really?
Damon Caldwell, he didn't even know me. He said, "I'm sorry, I have to help you." You know, and God has been sending people like that. Either they have a daughter too, or you know, and they just kind of relate and be like, I gotta help. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And you know, I think me doing this stuff, I just don't want it to happen to nobody else.
Yeah.
You know, if you can help it, teaching your kids about what friendship is supposed to be, you know, modeling for them, you know, and they're going to make their own decisions. But I don't have a night where I have a lot of regrets.
Right.
I don't. I feel like I'm giving the long-winded version of all my answers. I don't want to be too long. We're like, wait, am I talking too much?
No, I love it because the people need to hear it. You know, there's somebody out there who's going through the same thing, and it's a hurtful feeling. Yeah. And they don't talk about it because they feel like they don't have that help. So thank you for sharing your story. I know there's so much more we can say, but we may save that for another day. Okay. You know, if you're willing to come back.
Oh, girl, you got whistle. I'll be here. Just whistle.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us on episode 6 of Let's Talk About It. Please tune in for our next session. We will see you and talk to you soon. Thank you guys.
Thank you.